was thinking about ways to improve the Digimon World games, something I thought about for a while and thought to myself, this is a good time to do my new segment Better World, where I think of ways to improve open worlds in video games. First thing that comes to mind as a way to improve Digimon World games, starting with character, is running. That's legit the first thing that comes to mind, especially after playing Next Order. Sprinting, running would make that game much less of a slog, or even other modes of transportation like bike or even mounts, like in Digimon Online, except you don't have to be an ultimate. Improve the fishing mechanic, and make it so you don't have to waste so much time when you do it. Honestly, it could be improved a lot by just changing the camera to a person, or even just changing it to how it was in the first Digimon World. But personally, my favorite fishing minigame is from Dark Cloud 2. So something like that would be great. Improved camera overall would be great as well. One way you can change the angles. Improved tutorials. My idea for how to improve it would be the gym having a training area where you can start a fight with another Digimon with there being an option that guides you how to play. Perhaps the tamer could have better ways to be involved in the combat, like implement the cards from Digimon Tamer. Also, if it's going to be a silent protagonist, have more customization, even if it's just clothes. Now the Digimon themselves. First, there should only be one Digimon. It's much better to have a connection that way. Maybe the other Digimon could be in a type of support role. Digimon should be more easily able to move aside and not take up the way, except of course when you run away from enemies. Less emphasis on upgrading via gym than in combat, or at least having combat offer much more perks and experience. Gym is a big part of the series, but it just takes up a little too much time and just not all that interesting or fun. I think Digimon should be mountable. Maybe you need certain type of Digimon to unlock a certain area. Perhaps to keep it from being annoying, it does not matter for Ultimate since they can fly anyway. Or this is where support Digimon comes in and you can simply call them to help you out from the city. Accessories like in Digimon Hacker's Memory. The biggest change I want, however, is how the games handle evolution and care mistakes. Generally, it's based around care mistakes and stats, which is fine, but I think a way to make things more interesting is, instead of virus or vaccine Digimon being based on care mistakes, besides stuff like scolding, maybe the character can have a type of moral system of good and bad. Choices that you can make in-game decide the path your Digimon goes down. Perhaps some choices are needed to unlock certain Digimon. Another choice I had in mind for a while is the choice to let Digimon go free or kill them and absorb them to gain more XP like in Tamers. Another thing I think would help is changing the death system. No, not get rid of it or simply change how much life you have, but I think there should be a way to resurrect them than just waiting for them to die. Like, you can take them somewhere in the city to change them to their next cycle for a bonus. I think a way to balance this out is when a Digimon is clearly dying, they should gain twice as much XP. So you have it in your head of, do I risk fighting when this Digimon might be dying soon? And also, if he dies, you may also lose that XP. Or should you go ahead and resurrect? To me, that adds another layer of rewards for the player, and another layer of responsibility to the partners. So it also increases the raising Tamagotchi experience. Now, the actual world itself, starting with the city, I think Next Order did it pretty darn well. Really just continue to do what they did here, but more and bigger. Maybe you can decorate the city and perhaps customize some things like the color. Maybe this just came to mind. Instead of you always going out and recruiting, you can decorate and add attractions and little things to the city that you buy with either money or in-game collectibles and Digimon will actively come to your city. Now, the most important facility in Digimon games, the gym. While Next Order was faster and to the point, it was boring and uninteresting compared to Digimon World 1. I want some kind of animation that does not have to be anything big or complicated, maybe even skippable, but just something more interesting than standing and streaming. There needs to be less grinding with everything, more so as you progress and add Digimon. I'm not against grinding. Grinding is something I enjoy doing, especially with music in the background. It's kind of relaxing and overall part of world games. I'm just trying to find the best balance for the most fun. Something to take from Digimon Decode is the arena. The arena has its own stories. Only thing I would add is maybe make the arena bigger. The city progression should be a bit more like Digimon World 1, and since you slowly add more, that's better than just walking into the city and it's just huge. The perks. I think they did well in Next Order, but I think there should be two types of points for the perk system. One that's tied to level ups, which affects Digimon, and others tied to points you get for defeating Digimon. Think the license points in Final Fantasy XII, and they go toward overall world stuff like materials and hunting, fishing, and finding money. Now, the actual digital world. You know, the difference between the OG and Next Order is the sense of adventure and charm that Digimon World 1 had. This is the hardest one I found to be able to explain, but like Digimon World 1 felt like a world, the world felt creative and lived in, but also connected. Next Order just felt like a to-do list of sections. Even though both have the same type of ice fire area thing, what I think can help the world is to be less linear in size and direction, and allow you to go into more areas early on. The world needs to be more weird. More floppy disks here and there, more weird trees, more fleshed out backgrounds, not just mountains. This really helped the world in the first game. Finally, let's end this on gameplay. Characters need to be less floaty when moving around. Enemies, more staggering animation. If this game will be on current consoles and not handheld to consoles, no reason besides maybe the size of the Digimon that the combat can be quick and active. Evolution stages and levels should be important. Adults that are as strong as perfects at a high level should be pretty rare. Change difficulty settings, since in Next Order there was really no reason to even play the game on anything but easy, because everything else just took up time. And that's pretty much it. But I also had an idea that honestly might be too much and too much out there. But here we go. It's actually really more of a spin-off idea, but what I thought was, in my opinion, what if the Digimon could be more controlled? Now you can add commands that suggest more behaviors. And what if not just the Digimon, but also the tamer? Like what if the main character can transform, like in Digimon Frontier? You and your Digimon fight side by side, with combat like in FF12. So it's not directly action based, but adds a layer of strategy. Well, that's my wild idea in the end. I think with the right direction, time, and perhaps budget, there could be an incredible world game. Now, what are your ideas? Tell me in the comments, and please like, sub, and hit the bell. Later.